The White Hatter Weekly Update, the show where we go over last week's top news stories that we think can have a positive or where you should have maybe a concern on how you use technology. Let's get into it.
Sure.
Shall we?
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Brandon.
I'm Darren.
Okay. So, if you don't know that by now, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
All right. First news story I want to highlight. I think this is one of the biggest stories we saw was Google will finally allow you to change your @Gmail address.
Why is this important?
Well, for those people who made their Gmail address when they were kids, and you can imagine the kind of emails kids generate for themselves as their main personal email, and they
sometimes adults as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So Google's looking to roll out. It's not an official announcement, but people have noticed that it is sort of happening, where deep in your settings, you can actually change your primary email address. Oh. So you keep all your data, except instead of it being your name, last name @gmail.com, you can change it to something else.
I wonder if that'll still be searchable under the old Gmail name. Probably.
So how it works is your old one you will still own and exist.
Yeah.
It'll just function like an alias.
Gotcha.
So that's important because that's the first question I had. Because okay, let's say you sign up for an account using your Gmail address, and then you change it, and now you need to reset your password.
Exactly.
If the email no longer exists, you're not going to get the reset password email.
So it'll still work.
Yes, it will still exist. It will be forwarded to your new address.
Okay.
So you will get any of those important account updates, password resets.
So this is not such a bad thing.
Smart.
For individuals who maybe in the past have done some things that maybe be less than desirable and maybe don't want to be as searchable, and they kind of want to start afresh, anew, maybe using an email. This might be one of the things to think about.
Yes.
Perfect.
I think this is a great update. So I look forward to this being rolled out more.
So stay tuned. When it happens, we'll let you know.
Some people apparently have access right now.
Oh, there you go.
But if you have been dying to change your email because you're really embarrassed about what you chose as a kid, don't worry. There might be an option coming up pretty soon.
There you go.
Next news story that piqued my interest. Texas sues big TV makers alleging that the smart TVs spy on you without user consent.
Yeah, who's the AG there? It's Paxton, right? I think that's who it is Paxton, right? And he's he takes the same philosophy as a certain U.S. president that is in power right now that says, let's just sue everybody, right? Let's just do it. It's kind of interesting. I don't disagree, but continue. Let's listen to what you have to say on this.
So they're suing the 5 big TV makers, Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, and TLC.
So let's throw the spaghetti at the wall. Okay.
Now, what it alleges is how smart TVs work is when you connect them to the internet, your HDMI or video inputs, whatever's on the screen, the TVs take screenshots of that, and then they analyze it, and they send it back to their company HQ to analyze your viewing habits.
Yeah.
Now, if you're thinking, well, I don't use the smart TV features, I don't sign into Netflix on my smart TV, I have an Apple TV, or I play video games, so I plug in through the HDMI. Anything that's on the screen, it's like a screenshot on the screen. So it doesn't matter if it's plugged in through HDMI, if you're airplaying, whatever you're doing, it's taking screenshots and analyzing that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've known this for years, right? It's not new that the TVs are doing this. Some TVs even have cameras that point towards out from the screen, right? So potentially these companies could potentially see what's going on as well, right?
Yeah.
However, what's interesting is, like I said, I think they call him the Attorney General in the States. This guy, he is suing people left, right, and center because he follows the same philosophy, again, as a certain U.S. president, which is let's just sue everybody and see what happens because the money's not coming out of my pocket to sue. It's coming out of the Texas government's pocket to do this. And what's interesting is a lot of the civil suits that he's launched over the past little while, they've all been thrown out. Right? It's not all of them, but there's a large majority that he's been pushing that have been thrown out by the courts. So Yeah, we'll see. Right, we'll see what happens. Is there? That was kind of cool. What was that?
My phone.
Oh, someone trying to phone?
Yeah.
You? Well, put it on vibrate.
It's on silent now.
There you go. The issue here is that these TVs are doing that. I think it's within the terms of service that they do say that they're doing it. So we'll see what happens. But it's this guy. He sues anybody, right? That's just what they do.
Well, their claims are people aren't given meaningful consent.
Yeah, informed consent.
And that any settings that might exist to opt out are buried behind like 15 clicks of buried in the settings.
That's kind of the same arguments they're using for social media platforms too, right? So
yeah,
same arguments.
So yeah,
we'll see.
I'm not entirely against this because I think users should have the ability to not have their TVs screenshot them. That's what they're playing or what they're viewing. I think that's reasonable, or at least have the ability to turn it off.
I guess what I'm against is the guy who's launching it, right?
That's fair. Well, speaking of politicians doing things, New York is now going to require social media websites to have warning labels, much like tobacco or other substances, to have like warning labels, primarily targeting features that are deemed predatory, including infinite scrolling, autoplaying, and algorithm-driven feeds. If social networks have those features, they have to put warning labels.
For what purpose?
Mostly because they're predatory, mental health, addiction. Those are their claims.
Yeah, I think it's more about political win here. Just saying. Just saying. I mean, there's good research on, like, I've written articles on this. Like, there's good research on warning labels on things like tobacco products, and that it did have a positive correlational effect when pictures were shown and warnings were given and all that stuff, right? But I think this is more of a political win. I don't think it's going to change behavior in any way, but it definitely gives a politician a political win.
I've been thinking about that more recently because I've seen a lot more politicians being against social media or against businesses, and there's some reasonability there, like, yes. However, is that really the best use of a politician's time? I mean, okay, cool. Your social networks should inform users, hey, we use algorithms, autoplay, infinite scrolling, and you may get sucked in.
Yeah. How about creating a law that actually targets these social media platforms that are using these predatory behaviors? How about that as a thought? Right? That might be a good thing to do.
But is infinite scrolling like inherently a predatory behavior?
Well, it causes people to stay online longer, like the research does. There's good research that does show that infinite scrolling does keep people, it makes it sticky, right? Well, so people are more likely going to stay on there longer, which means these companies are able to gather more personal information. Right?
How is that different if you just binge watch the shopping channel 24/7 on your TV?
I get that as well.
Isn't that infinite scrolling if you just watch TV news all the time?
I truly do believe that rather than creating laws like this that are going to have very little effect, if the issue is that these platforms are causing these issues, well, then why not write legislation that targets these platforms to prevent those issues from happening in the first place? Like, that's what should be happening. But instead, we go after, when I say we mean some politicians, they would rather go after the low-hanging fruit that is easy to deal with. Good example, warning labels. Another good example, age gating, right? But age gating doesn't deal with the predatory behavior, which is still going to happen, right? Like, if you age gate at 16, let's say I'm 15 today and tomorrow I'm 16.
Magically, you're somehow this perfectly
like, now I don't
mature,
this type of law and age gating laws do not affect how these companies will change their behavior. In fact, what's really interesting about some of these age gating laws right now is that a lot of these companies aren't making a lot of fuss about it. Yeah, sure, they went public to say this isn't the right thing, but you don't see them making a lot of fuss about this. Why? Because all they have to do is now, okay, we got an age gate in place. We've done our due diligence. If somebody goes against it, it's not our problem, it's their problem. And it doesn't cause them to change their basic business plan or what it is they're doing, their algorithms, nothing like that. That's why, for those Canadians that are watching me right now, we have written an article that's on our website, www.thewhitehatter.ca. Scroll down to blogs and articles, click on it. where the Canadian Parliament is now reintroducing Bill C-63, which is the Online Harms Act. And there's a real push right now by some groups and individuals saying that we should adopt the Australian age gating. No, we shouldn't be doing that, right? For all kinds of reasons that we talk about in the article. What we should be doing is creating legislation that goes after these companies with a safety by design approach, right? That's what we should be doing, because ultimately that's how we're going to make changes. But it's hard to do that, because once you do that, these juggernaut social media, I'm on a rant now. These juggernaut social media companies will pay the big bucks, the lawyers, to fight this, because it's in their financial interest to do it. And governments are going, well, you know what? Do we really want to take the time and effort and money to do this when we can go after the low-hanging fruit and not have to deal with it? Having said that, in Australia right now, there are 2 Supreme Court challenges to the existing age gating law. One is being launched by a group of teens and a special interest group who supports those teens. And the second is Reddit is now suing Australia, saying that it is a violation.
Wasn't 4chan in there somewhere as well?
Yeah, I don't think.
No, that was EU.
Yeah, it wasn't 4chan. It was Reddit, and what they're going after is saying that that law violates their charter. Like, we have a charter here in Canada of rights and freedoms. Australia has one, and a lot of legal experts in Australia are saying Reddit has got a strong footing on this argument. So it's going to be interesting to watch what happens.
Democratic countries that have rights.
So again, rather than taking the time and effort to put laws like this in place, which are feel-good laws,
infinite scrolling, autoplaying, algorithm-driven feeds, okay,
but it doesn't change. It doesn't change these companies from changing that, which is causing the harm. So let's go after what is causing the harm.
The one, okay, I can see algorithm-driven feed. I can see that one maybe, okay, maybe want to have something there, but instead of saying algorithm, maybe more define what that means.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, like I heard people say, well, we can't get algorithms changed. Well, yeah, we can, because guess what? Instagram just announced recently that they're going to allow users to change their algorithms on their Instagram platforms to help deal with what is coming in their feeds. So Meta has absolutely proven the fact that they have the ability to control these algorithms. So why not put a law in place, legislate a law in place that says for those under the age of 18, these types of algorithms should not be engaged? Well, hey, that's reasonable, right? So anyways, rant off.
All right, good rant.
Oh my God.
So yeah, politicians, okay, good job, but I think you have better things to do.
And for the Canadians that are watching right now, check out our article. We actually have a template that you can copy and paste into an email that you can send to your member of parliament, your senator who represents your district, as well as the Prime Minister's office, to say, hey, listen, when this thing comes up for discussion, let's talk about these bigger issues on this new bill.
Yeah.
So there. Next.
Okay. Speaking of algorithms, Instacart is immediately ending its controversial price testing. So in the app, it was testing different people's purchasing power. And when you order groceries or something to be delivered, prices will be different on your phone compared to your neighbor, depending on all the algorithmic factors. They have decided to end the process.
So they say.
Well,
not that I'm suspicious at all. Right?
Well, people are testing it. People were testing it.
Right.
So you can now test it. And they actually found in some instances, people were paying 23% more for the same product.
Yeah, this is happening all over. Like it's not just Instacart. A lot of companies are now doing this without even telling the users that they're doing it. I mean, I've shared, I'm on another rant. Here we go. The boomer dad rant. Here we go. We've shared this before, where I did some research, where I booked a return flight from Victoria to Toronto on a very well-known Canadian airline that has a maple leaf on its tail. Not going to mention who it is. So anyways, I looked at a flight, business class, flying from Victoria to Toronto return on a specific date, a specific time, a specific seat. I did that on a MacBook Pro, and then I did it on a PC. And the price on my MacBook Pro for the same flight, same day, same seat, same section was about $100 more than the booking I was going to make on my PC on the same flight, same seat, same day. Why the difference? Because that airline was using an algorithm that knew I was using a MacBook Pro.
Which costs more.
Right. And therefore, they made the assumption that I was more affluent. And because I was more affluent, I would pay more money to do that. Right. So I did it with our hats. I did the same thing where I went online. We ordered this hat from a specific company in the United States. So I went online with our MacBook Pro as well as a PC, went to order the hat. And on the PC, by the way, I also used a VPN to hide my location. I changed my location to a place that maybe isn't so financially viable, right? Like anyway, a lower socioeconomic area, country. And again, the price to have the hat purchased and delivered was about $65 cheaper when I did it on the PC than when I did it on my MacBook Pro. So this type of stuff is going on all over the place. And that's why sometimes understanding that, you can actually game it to your advantage to get a better price.
Yep. Right? Funny enough, this came after the Instacart settled an FTC settlement for $60 million. Now, that was about them making claims about free delivery and hiding costs for that. Yeah. But basically, at least this service is beginning to end their
Speaking of free delivery, have you seen the recent videos now of Amazon doing their drops? Where people order their stuff and then they fly the drones over and they drop them via these drop lines like you see from rescue helicopters.
Oh, yeah, packages. There's some cities that are testing that.
Yeah, it's like, holy moly, right?
Does every house need like a landing pad now?
Yeah, they were dropping them in the backyards. And it was extremely accurate.
Have a backyard.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, what happens if you're in a high-story building right on the 51st floor or something like that? How do you get it delivered? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess maybe builders have to figure that out. Yeah. Have like a landing pad on top of buildings for package. Anyways. Yeah. So, if you were using Instacart, understand you, or potentially any online ordering app, you might be paying more. Actually, funny enough, I was at a grocery store earlier last month and I was like, I want to see what these things are on another app. I won't say names, but they tend to dash around. And I was looking.
They tend to dash around.
Yeah. People dash from aisle to aisle from store to store.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So this product is an extra $1 if I order on the app. This product is like every product was roughly an extra-ish $1
if ordered on the app.
Yeah. Anyways, so just so you know. Convenience, but at a cost.
Yeah, with convenience comes vulnerability, and vulnerability to your wallet.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting report. So OpenAI published a report on its data it sends to the Center for Child Protections or NMEC or any of the online exploitation reporting agencies. They stated this year basically 75,000 reports that they've sent in regards to youth exploitation, any of that kind of stuff. 75,000 reports, which is interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people do not recognize that when you're prompting into these platforms, there was some great investigative reporting done on this several months ago, where they found that OpenAI, they looked at primarily OpenAI.
The biggest.
They did not disclose to their users that anything that's being prompted into their LLM, large language model, is also being scanned by OpenAI. And if they find anything concerning, they're now forwarding it to the appropriate authority, be it the police or be it NCMEC, right?
So I had a couple questions because the report didn't get into detail in terms of what was reported, just that if OpenAI detected content might be exploitation in nature, whatever they might determine that as, that they send data to the reporting agencies.
I think that's a good thing.
I'm curious about false positives.
Yeah, that would be
So I'm curious about if someone's doing, let's say you're a student, you're under the age of 18, you're using AI, you're learning about human sexuality or anything in that matter, or doing research, trying to figure out what's allowed, what's not allowed. Could your name be sent to a law enforcement agency because of a false positive of something you were trying to research, but was classified as exploitation?
Yeah.
Like 75,000 in 1 year. I don't think that would be human filtered. Like to me, that sounds like they're using
Automation.
their systems to just,
automating it.
exploitation, send to authorities.
Yeah. And you would hope the authorities are going to screen it, which they probably will, to make sure that it falls within the definition, right? But I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing, but you're right. It would be interesting to see how many false positives are forwarded, because once a report is, I can speak from past experiences, once you receive a report, as in law enforcement, we create a report. And in that report, we have to put in potential suspects or others. We have to put in names, right? Well, if OpenAI is also providing them with the name of who this person is that name now going into a police database? And could that police database at a later time be accessed, and because it was a false positive, have a negative outcome on that individual?
That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
So, just so you all know.
So more questions need to be asked for clarification, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Not such a bad thing. I actually don't disagree with this. I think it's a good thing, but if it was 75,000, it tells you OpenAI has a problem, right? Or how people are using it, potentially.
I'm trying to consider, given the work that we do, we see all kinds of reports.
That's true.
The purpose of someone using an AI chatbot in order to facilitate exploitation,
I feel you.
I'm trying to understand how they would do that to any successful effect.
Yeah. More to come.
Interesting.
More questions.
I want more qualitative data on that number.
Well, maybe NCMEC might release a report later this year or next year to kind of drill down more on, of those reports that came in from OpenAI, how many of them actually fell within the definition of what it is that they felt was child sexual abuse material and action taken, right? So maybe.
Did you know you can start storing your car key fob into your phone?
That shouldn't surprise me.
Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you have to have a new phone with a new version of a car.
Yeah.
But for me, because one of my buttons on one of my fobs, it's you have to press down on an angle. It's like, okay, so maybe I need to get a new fob. It's like $500.
I think it's cheaper. Like Costco right now has that thing going on.
I asked those people.
How much?
$400.
Oh my God.
I was like, what? $400 to replace a car fob.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing this. There's a lot of this type of stuff going on. Like you can get apps now to open up your home door because it uses Bluetooth technology now to unlock your door to your house. So this one shouldn't surprise us either, right? The only thing I can start see happening now is, have you watched the videos now of these high-tech car thieves, that what they're doing at night is they're using RFID scanning technology? You'll see them in videos now where in the middle of the night, they're going up the doors of homes with these big antennas and walking outside the door like this with the antennas. And what they're looking for, because a lot of people, when they hang up their keys, they'll put their keys next to the door, right?
Yeah.
Well, those keys are still putting off an RFID type of transmission.
This is resistant to that.
Did they say that?
Yeah, because it doesn't use radio frequency. It uses Bluetooth ultra wide, which is more resistant to relay attacks.
But there must be a way to still intercept that.
Well, anything is technically possible.
Right.
But, if you're looking at even newer key fobs have more encryption settings built in as well to kind of prevent that. But when you're looking at a hard-coded radio signal from your fob, right, that is technically easier to intercept.
Yeah.
But a Bluetooth connection, we have built-in security.
Yeah.
It's attached to your passcode on your phone or your Face ID. It's much like when it comes to Apple Pay or Google Pay. Like those payment settings built into your phone that you use to pay for your credit card is more secure because every transaction is a unique identifier. Yeah. So someone can't come around to you and tap your pocket, steal your credit card. You can't really do that from the Apple Pay.
Can I finish my story on the key fob thing?
Oh yeah.
so what they're doing is they're going next to doors and then they're getting the code. They're programming the code into a device. They go into the car that's parked in the driveway now. Poof, they're in and they drive away with these bloody things. It's big in Ontario where car theft is just unbelievable, right? So one of the things that is important for people who are watching right now who have newer type cars that use the key fobs, don't put the key fob next to your doors or buy a simple Faraday bag. There's now these key holders that you can put your car keys into to prevent that from happening. Just a thought.
Or if you're able to,
yeah,
if you have a new car with a new phone, you can, in your settings, you can actually put your fob data into your phone.
But another boomer dad on the go here. I'm going to rant again. What's really interesting is we were in 2 parking lots yesterday at 2 separate shopping locations,
okay,
and we saw the same car at both locations. And it was a company here in Victoria that does parking enforcement. And they were using a license plate readers on their car. They're driving through all the parking stalls, reading all the license plates.
Yeah.
And what they were looking for were cars that had been ticketed by this company in the past who haven't paid the tickets. And then what they were doing is they were booting the cars. They were putting a boot.
Also scanning the ones that have been there for too long.
Yeah.
Because their routes are time determined. Like if you have a parking spot and they only allow you to do 15 minutes in a lot,
right,
or 3 hours.
But in the shopping parking lots, 2 big ones, one was Costco, another one was another big one here in the West Shore. They don't have those limits. So they were primarily there scanning, looking for license plates that were registered to vehicles where they had parking bills that had not been paid.
Can you hide your license plate in a parking lot?
Good question.
Because you can't on the road.
Yeah, you have to have, the vehicle has to be licensed on a public roadway.
Yes.
Right? If it's in a public parking lot, good question. I don't know. That would be a good call. We should come up with a device, right? Where as soon as you park a car in a parking stall, you push a button. And
they do exist.
They do?
They do exist.
Oh.
Yes. You can get masks and with a button. So I'm curious. Can you?
Of course, you know about that. Of course. Malicious compliance. The king of malicious compliance.
Can you hide? Are you allowed to hide a license plate in a parking lot?
Yeah, good question. I don't know.
No, then all parking lots have to do in their TOS is, hey, you want to park here? You have to show your plate.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, then you're towed or ticketed.
Yeah.
But the question is, how many of them have that rule in place? Anyways,
interesting.
Something to consider.
Just make sure whatever this device is you're talking about, make sure that you raise it before you get onto the public roadway. Because as soon as you do, and there's a cop beside you, you're getting a significant ticket, right? So just saying.
Or even if you have a clear protector, in some places you can't even have that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have anything that obstructs the license plate.
Nope, even clear ones. Yeah. I say it all the time. See, that's why I couldn't be a police officer. Because that's
where discretion comes into play, right?
But I'm the kind of person, if the rules are written as they're written because someone was an idiot and they didn't consider all outcomes. It's like, okay, that's against the law. You walked on a...
But that's why the courts have given police discretionary powers.
That's why I couldn't be an officer.
I know.
Right? It'd be like, that's against the rules, that's against the rules, that's against the rules. Who are making these rules that basically anything you do is illegal or being ticketed?
Yeah. Ugh. Next topic. Oh, now you're on the rant.
Yeah.
A little bit of the genes rubbing off on you there.
Last one. A bit of a slower news week because it's the holidays, but still, hackers and scammers don't stop. Zoom stealer browser extensions harvest corporate meeting intelligence.
What the heck?
Okay, so...
Now we knew in the past there were some issues around this, right? Some privacy issues with Zoom, right?
Well, it's a plugin. It's plugins people put onto their browser.
Right.
And I think we've been talking about that quite a lot for the last 5 years, that apparently affecting Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, potentially 2.2 million people who've downloaded 18 different browser extensions that when you connect to a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting and a few other platforms like WebEx, it extracts the meeting URL and IDs, meeting topics, descriptions, registration status, schedules, speaker host names, job titles, bios, profile photos, company logos, branding assets, and session metadata.
Including password?
including well, when you join a Zoom meeting to make things convenient, the password's technically in the web address, because that's their convenience factor.
Right.
So the more you know.
So how do you defend against this?
You
don't use a plugin browser.
Be cautious of any plugins or extensions in your browser that might make your online experience better.
But how would you know?
Be cautious of the permissions.
How would you know?
Well, because usually when you download a plugin, it will have a pop-up going on your browser.
Whoever
Chrome will
reads those.
say, no one reads them.
No.
This plugin can read your URLs. This plugin sends this data. This plugin looks at your web history.
Okay, so people of your age and technical skill level, you have a habit of reading all that kind of stuff. The boomers, that's me. They don't. They just, whatever, next. Right? So, anyways.
So, interesting enough, do be cautious of the browser plugins you install. I feel like I have to do a whole video on that, because there have been so many news stories in the last 5 years.
We talked about, wasn't there an issue with OpenAI's Atlas with respect to browsers and the vulnerability of the...
Yep.
There was one that we spoke about just recently on one of the shows we just did, right?
Yep.
So,
and there was another one on a VPN plugin that extracted all your chats with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an issue, right? So with convenience comes vulnerability. And what's interesting is the people who want to use it for nefarious reasons, they will constantly try to find ways that they can leverage that to their advantage.
People might be wondering, what's the purpose of this? Hypothetically, what's been hypothesized, it's more so just corporate intelligence gathering. The servers are based in China for the malware and the data. But yeah, basically extracting all the data, which can be used in corporate espionage to then potentially phish and get passwords for executives and all that stuff.
I never really understood how prominent corporate espionage is. Like when you think espionage, you think state actors, you think, going after military and government and all that kind of stuff.
007 with a license. And
by the way, we watched Goldfinger last night, Mom and Dad. It was great.
That's a classic.
1964. It was made a year before I was born. That kind of tells you how old I am. So it was really good, actually. We're going to watch another one tonight, Dr. No. We're going to watch Dr. No tonight. But
they made that twice.
However, I met a colleague who retired from the RCMP where he was in Special I. And those guys and gals, they do everything with respect to wiretaps, cameras, all that kind of stuff. So he's now in private industry in the corporate world. And what he does is he goes into corporate retreats and corporate offices and he scans for hardware being used for the purposes of competitors to gain intelligence on their competition that they can use to their advantage. It's huge.
Hey, if you're going to know NVIDIA is going to launch a new product soon, you want to, buy some stock in a different company.
It's huge, right? So it's not just about military kind of espionage. It's also about corporate espionage, right? Where they're spying. Like I guarantee you, some of these companies, like a good example, X and Grok, they probably have operatives that are working in OpenAI, right? Trying to get information from them to figure out what's going on, and vice versa, right? Like you got to know that this is going on because they're all racing to try and get to super artificial intelligence. But it was amazing. And this guy, he looks at me and he says, Darren, I should have done this years ago because the amount of money I'm making doing this as a civilian now is unbelievable, right? So anyways.
Well, those were the top news stories that we think could have an actual practical impact on your daily life online. So, from the White Hatter, thank you all so much, and we'll see you all next time.
And in 2 sleeps, it's 2026, so Happy New Year from the White Hatter as well.
Indeed.
Bye.
Bye-bye for now.
Good afternoon, Dr. Court. How you brought yourself to where you are today?
Wanting to be generous and accommodating.
Work with young people.
we decided to do some background research on these three major mobile ISPs, what's clearly prohibited and could in fact be a violation of their terms of service.
We thought this would be an opportunity to create a video about general buying and selling safety tips on the internet.
Created a version 2 that they call the Donashi Scholar, and which is specifically designed for you about a new mobile phone that was on the market called the Wise Phone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unanswered Questions. Sometimes we just don't get enough time to answer all the amazing questions from students during our live broadcast. Recent bug in Meta, Facebook, and Instagram proves you cannot always trust a password. AI cybercrime is happening right now and is likely going to be happening more. We wish to recognize these extraordinary and outstanding people by presenting them with the White Hatter Medallion.